High Springs are wondering tonight what caused an explosion at a nearby chemical plant and what's now in the air. The blast sent 4 people to the hospital. TV 20's Emma Delamo now joins us live in High Springs. Emma, what is the status of the victims?
Officials tell me that the victims were all working at the plant, and their injuries vary, but one person was airlifted to the hospital in critical condition. Around 4 o'clock this morning, High Springs firefighters were dispatched to Air Liquide on Main Street. The fire was contained to only one building. Multiple agencies have been at Air Liquide all day, finishing up work and blocking the entrance. One resident lives 2 miles away from the plant. His wife was taking the dog outside when suddenly they heard a loud noise.
I live out in the woods, so we thought maybe it was a huge tree that fell down, but it didn't sound like a tree falling down, and it shook the earth. I mean, it felt like an earthquake.
The company's website says they provide chemicals like oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon monoxide to customers. It's unclear what chemicals, if any, were burned during the fire. We're working to learn more about the chemicals and the company, but officials say that there is no threat to the public. And we have reached out to Air Liquide for a statement, but have not heard back at this time. Reporting live in High Springs, Emma Delamo, TV 20 News.